The acquittal of Kyle Rittenhouse shows that the justice system is designed to justify the actions of white men, no matter how egregious. I'm MTV Pungo, and this is MTV News. Need to know. On Friday, Kyle Rittenhouse, who faced 6 charges, including homicide, was acquitted on all counts, and people have been reacting all weekend. Many were quick to point out double standards in our criminal justice system. Human rights activist and lawyer Kasim Rashid tweeted, "Cops murdered John Crawford holding a toy, not guilty. Cops murdered Tamir Rice holding a toy, not guilty. Cops murdered Breonna Taylor as she slept, not guilty. Kyle Rittenhouse murdered 2 people at a racial justice rally, not guilty. The system isn't broken, it was built this way." The 2 men Rittenhouse killed, Anthony Huber and Joseph Rosenbaum, were white and were protesting the police shooting of Jacob Blake. Huber's parents, Karen Bloom and John Huber, were heartbroken by the verdict and said in a statement that it sends the unacceptable message that armed civilians can show up in any town, incite violence, and then use the danger they have created to justify shooting people in the street. While a lot of people voiced outrage over the decision, few were actually surprised by it. Not only is there a long history of white men with guns being perceived as upholding the law, but there were major red flags within the trial itself. For starters, Judge Bruce Schroeder appeared to stack the cards in Rittenhouse's favor in how he dictated the tone of the trial. He barred the 3 men Rittenhouse shot from being called victims or even alleged victims in court. And some jurors even shared concerns that they couldn't be impartial. The judge dismissed those concerns and allowed them to sit on the jury anyway. The most likely conviction Rittenhouse faced was for the weapons charge. He had an AR-15 style rifle as a minor and traveled with it across state lines. But right before closing arguments, Judge Schroeder dropped this charge because of a loophole in Wisconsin law that says minors can have hunting guns so long as they are not short-barreled. All of this in spite of the fact that Rittenhouse admitted that this gun was bought illegally and not for the purpose of hunting. So once the charge was tossed, all that was left for the jury to consider was his self-defense argument. Bloomberg News legal reporter Eric Larson told MTV News, "The law does say people can lose the right to claim self-defense if they provoke the situation, but prosecutors failed to convince the jury. Jurors instead appeared to accept Rittenhouse's claim that his gun wasn't a provocation because Wisconsin is an open carry state, and that he legitimately feared for his life because he thought his victims were going to take his gun and use it against him." Rittenhouse was trying to be a vigilante. If he wouldn't have carried a weapon he got his hands on illegally from Illinois to a chaotic situation in Wisconsin, none of this would have happened. He walked right past police officers who gave him water, thanked him for being there, and then let him leave after he shot 3 people. This is just one more example of how officials passively legitimize violence so long as the person holding the gun is white. And President Joe Biden did the same thing when he reacted to the verdict by saying,
"I stand by what the jury has concluded. The jury system works and we have to abide by it."
His statement undermines the fact that there are flaws in the justice system and is gaslighting everyone who's trying to fix those flaws. Playing both sides of the fence shows how out of touch he is with the people who put him in office in hopes of change, particularly those young progressives and black voters who expected more. Remember, this is the guy who's never been on the presidential ticket without a black person by his side. Yet he couldn't even acknowledge the role that white privilege played in this outcome. As the country grapples with the Rittenhouse decision, folks are bracing themselves for the verdict in the case of 3 other vigilantes, the men who hunted down and killed Ahmaud Arbery. The outcome will likely be reached this week. And if we've learned anything from the Rittenhouse case, it's that unless the system itself is changed, the laws will always be interpreted in favor of white folks who choose to play judge, jury, and executioner. I'm MTV Pungo, and that's what you need to know.